Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Planet Marzipan, the Fish and Marillion podcast. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate.
Craig Houston.
Hello, welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza, I'm here with my good friend.
Craig.
And we have two other friends with us. We welcome from StillMarillion, Stuart Clyde.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Stuart, welcome back.
You.
And Mark
Cheers.
Mitchell. Hi, Mark.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hello, mate. You okay, boys?
Absolutely grand.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Tip top.
Good. Well, we've got you back on to talk all things StillMarillion. Mark's got the bottle on the go, so that's loosening him up nicely. Where are we? We're currently just about to go into, as we're talking, just about to go into May. So how's the year been for you so far?
Yeah, I'll start with that. For start with that, if you don't mind, Stuart. Gig-wise, very good. You know, we're starting to sort of pick and choose. I think as we get older, the gigs we do a bit more carefully. You know, and tend to favour going back to places that we know, and that we've got a good relationship, and we also know there's a healthy fan base there that's going to turn out, rather than just when you're younger you're chasing it a lot of gigs. So we always start the year. Classic start to years, Derby and Swindon, and Derby itself, Flowerpot, lovely wee venue, but it's always absolutely ram-packed, and it was no different this year, and so that started the year on a good note, and then have a few of our regular haunts, and yeah, and like a couple of weeks ago, just over in Germany, and as I said, Germany's absolutely crazy. No matter, it doesn't seem to what venue you go to, where you go, there always seems to be a, I'm not going to sit and slag off UK venues here, but there always seems to be a step above.
I was going to say, you seem to be you're playing bigger places over there than you are in this country, though, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, there's always a very large fan base over there. There's a large fan base in the UK, but it seems to be more the done thing in Germany and the Netherlands to go out and see the tribute bands and actually turn out, whereas it does tend to be out in the UK a wee bit difficult to get some people to just come out, whether that's financial just now or other concerns, but there's definitely doesn't seem to be the same problems there in Europe as they are here. But that sounds real political, so I'm not go down that road. But yeah, I mean the venues themselves, they look after you, treat you well. You know, there's always fantastic gear there. There's always, sound guys, light guys. You turn up at the door and simple things like, and this sounds crazy, but simple things like there's some tea and coffee, there's some sandwiches, how he's doing, this is where the dressing room is. Sometimes you turn up to UK venues and they just, oh, yeah, all right, guys, set up in the corner there, and it's all kind of not really that enthusiastic. So I don't want to down. I'm not going to down UK venues. I'm going to say Germany are fantastic, and the Netherlands are fantastic. Experiences are really good there. So that's why we always go back. And these shows in particular were very good. Everything seemed to run very smoothly, which is good.
I tell you what I have noticed about the audiences in Germany and the Netherlands is that there's no reluctance to travel a serious distance to get to a show. I mean, in the UK, when we play a place like Derby, the vast majority of people come from the Derby area, and maybe a few have travelled, an hour to get there. But when we play Germany and the Netherlands, people travel for hours and hours and book hotels and things to stay over, and it's a large percentage of the people that come to these shows that do that, and they don't really think twice about it, and it's a real occasion for them. It's a lovely thing.
I think that some of that, though, is probably that you're not there all the time either. You're playing like 2-3 gigs, and then it'll be 6 months or maybe more till you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Plus your reputation as well. Your reputation precedes you.
Mm-hmm. That's my book. I mean, I do. Most people know I do the booking and the scheduling for the band, and that's always been my attitude towards it. I mean, first of all, we're weekend warriors. We all work for a living, so we don't have the time to go over loads, even if we wanted to. But I prefer to just, carefully book venues that we go, as I said, we go back to and we get a great relationship with. We know what we're going to, and as I said, we're not overly saturated. We're not playing, for instance, in Cologne one night and then Dortmund the next, and then going back over again. We're spreading it out and we take the time. Same with the Netherlands. We really only play the Borderij and the De Poel in the Netherlands, and that means that we don't go and play other venues because it'll take the pool away. Because the last times we've played Zoetermeer, it's been sold out, and we're playing De Poel in June, and it's already sold out. And that for a tribute band, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not.
And they're not small venues, Mark, either, are they?
No. De Poel's about 650 capacity.
Brilliant.
From memory, and then Borderij's a bit bigger. I think they got it up to 700, but I might have my capacities completely wrong there. But they're not small. They're not small rock clubs. They're decent venues, well known in the prog circuit as well.
Yeah. Do you approach those gigs differently because they're sold out for months ahead? Does that mean you just kind of build a different set list, or are you just playing whatever you're going to play for that period?
Yes and no. Sometimes we perform a certain set for a certain gig, but I don't think we approach any gig differently at all. Like for instance, on the European gigs that we played there, we had three shows. First one, Colossal, which is quite a famous venue in the circuit. It was really nice, busy night. The Sunday night, we started building a kind of crowd into Oberhausen in this really nice venue. On the Saturday night, we didn't have a show, so we done what we normally call a filler show, which is just somewhere to bridge the gap, and your expectations are low. So when we done that show, we're not going to sit here and say it was a lovely venue and that, but the crowd's, it's a modest crowd. It's the first time. It's a very more rural German place, but our approach to playing the shows is exactly the same, whether it's 50 people or 500 people.
Yeah.
The way we approach it, the way we play during the gig is I think, exactly the same. Similar to Europe, where Chesterfield was, it's never going to be the busiest venue. That Stoke is always really good for us. It's always really busy. But both shows we play exactly, well, we don't play always exactly the same. Some things randomly come out, But
what
we do is go out there and give it both barrels.
Yeah, we give it.
I was going to talk.
We give it some beans, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. But the production's gone up again as well, hasn't it? You've refreshed the sort of images behind you again.
Yeah, with some great input from our friend Barnes.
Yeah.
Andrew's a great friend of Planet Marzipan, but he's such a talented fella, and we're so grateful that he can help us with our images that we project at the back. And like you said, we've refreshed them again for this year. We were working together, ourselves and Barnes, all last year on pretty much the set that we were doing last year. But when we refreshed the set for 2026, obviously new songs came in. That gave us an opportunity to look at some more images. And the deeper into this we get, the closer we can tie the rear projection images into the content of the song that we're playing. A lot of places or a lot of bands will just play nice looping swirly images or something with the band logo on it. We've chosen to go a slightly different way, and we're tying all of the background images into the lyrical content of the song that we're playing at the time, and it just adds a wee bit of theatre to the music that we're performing live. Really happy with it.
And is that back with you triggering that, or have you sort of given that back to Martin, or?
No,
we did discuss that on a previous.
Let's just say the guys will remember Martin fiddling in his pocket for his clicker. Thankfully, we don't have to see Martin fiddle in his pocket anymore. So
yeah, back in the days where we used to have a laptop and PowerPoint, there used to be a lot of Martin fiddling in his pocket.
Yeah.
All joking aside, that was a lot of work still went into that, and it's good to even having the backdrops and everything helps. It's just unfortunate again that in terms of UK venues, not a lot of them are kitted out with the ideal equipment, and without taking that step up in the UK into smaller theatre size and art centre types, then it's not a lot of places are kitted out, whereas quite often you turn up to most music venues, smaller music venues in Europe, and they will have some sort of projection or beamer, as they call it, which I always get confused with a car, but I mean.
And how did the Germans cope with Clyde's guitar then?
Oh, they love it. That I've got to say, the one thing I'll say about the German audience is that they appreciate musicianship. They appreciate that, you know, I don't think the Germans are necessarily standing there. I should keep say the Germans, but, you know, European audiences are necessarily standing there wanting that exact tribute, that fake tribute kind of thing, you know. They really like when you just give them something that they're not expecting, and they know when they're saying, you know, these guys are actually, you know, they're out there and they're doing their, you know, you're playing the songs, but you're kind of doing your own thing to a certain extent as well. I'm not standing there. We've talked about this before in the show about not standing there pretending to be Steve Rothery and, you know, an X amount. So they appreciate that extra bit of musicality when they see it, you know, and Stuart certainly likes to deliver that in buckets, you know.
You're as bad as each other, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Once you start having the dueling guitars and the guitar, it's ridiculously entertaining.
That's the bit I like. That's the bit I like. That's when I remember Mark staying in the dressing room. Oh, you're going to come out and show off and come out with that guitar. And then I walk over to him, and it's how much can he outdo me in the space of the next 8 bars? No, it's great fun, and it's visually impactful. And I know I've said this before on a different podcast, but the bringing out of the guitar, contrary to popular belief, isn't actually an ego trip. It's about giving the audience something that little bit different.
Sorry, he's doing that with a straight face, listeners. I know we're audio only, but we're all falling about. But he's serious.
Yeah, we know you, Clyde. We know what you like.
It isn't an ego trip. Yeah, all right.
All joking aside, I love it, and it's exactly that. It's musicianship, and I love the fact, you know, when Stuart plays or does something like that, you know, let's be honest about it. Keyboard players, guitar players, vocalists, they all fall under that same, you know, thing of, you know, they all want to be the loudest in the room, really, you know, or the focus, you know. That's, people can argue if they want and say, oh no, I don't have an ego, it's that, but guitar players, keyboard players, vocalists, they're generally lead instruments, you know. And if you get, you know, we got a night and, you know, and Martin's giving it his beans as he does in the last straw, and you know, blowing people out the water, and Stuart comes out with his guitar, you know, I don't feel the pressure, but I feel the, you know, the
you rise to it.
No,
you rise to the challenge.
You rise up to meet each other, which is only great for a band because, you know, the individual parts pull each other up, you know. Especially if you're maybe having a bad, you know, maybe not a great night or whatever, but your individual parts pull each other up, you know, because the level of playing, you know, from Stuart and the level of performance from Martin is top drawer as far as I'm concerned, you know. I'm biased, but, you know, but it inspires you every night, you know. I used to say it to Martin and to Grace later when he started playing with Steve. For me, I found it really difficult at first because in my head, all I was thinking is that, you know, Martin would come back from doing 3 or 4 Steve Rothery shows to next Saturday playing the Dog and Hound with us, you know what I mean? You know, and me standing beside him, and in my head I'm thinking, is Martin standing there thinking, oh, I'm standing here next to this clown, you know, last week I was standing here next to Steve, but it didn't. What it done for me was it gave me that push to say, you know what, you know, I'm going to make sure that my performance is such that, you know, he's not even going to get a chance to think that.
I don't think
he does secretly. But that's the point, because you're playing with other better players. You know, you're playing with people. It encourages the whole band to become better. You know, it pushes people on, which is always a good thing. Always good.
And speaking of other members of the band, you've gone through another one of your Spinal Tap drummer phases again, haven't you?
Well, you know, it's a stereotype, I think, but there's something about the poor dear drummer that I don't know, you know. Yeah, listen, you know, Mark's decided to leave us. There's nothing, you know, nothing in it at all. No, I think he's done it for 9 years, and I think he's just they decided he just, you know, travel in a van from and things like that. And I think he just wanted to give on with it, you know. And we were obviously really lucky that we have 2 drummers in the background Andrew, who started initially, and Kevin, who then started after him, two excellent drummers who are able to step in. So we made this decision. We spoke to Andrew. His circumstances when he left the band are different now, and he was more than happy to come back in and do it full time. But we've got that added bonus that if Andrew's not available or anything happens, that Kevin's there to pick up, which kind of suits Kevin as well, because Kevin left because he's done fantastically well with his mounting his films and things.
Yeah.
Kevin's putting films into it's art centres and cinemas. It's brilliant what he does.
It's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah.
He's absolutely. I mean, I can't believe it. I said to him the other day when I said I'm really proud of how what he's ended up achieving. Because I said to him when he left the band, you regret it. You should be a drummer. But he's achieved a fantastic amount. But the beauty for us is that it's kind of scratched Kevin's itch as well, because it gives him a couple of shows and it keeps them involved. But he doesn't have the thing that has to be committed to doing certain gigs. So it's worked out. In some ways, it's worked out well, but we'll miss Mark because he's a grand big lad, but he's, as I said, he's moved on to other things. So
I think the fact that the other guys are happy to come back and play with you again speaks volumes for how well you get on with each other.
Yeah, either that or a short-term memory lapse.
That's alcohol abuse for you. Right?
Stockholm syndrome or something.
No, it does. I mean, we didn't realise it was 15 years since Andrew played. It didn't seem that long, but it's 15 years, and he's slotted back right in there. He's even better now as a player because he's talking about country earlier on, but he's playing with a big country tribute, and he said that he's going away and learning all Mark Brzezicki stuff has led him to even improving his playing at a later age as well. It's pushed him up as well, and Kevin's a machine. He's just a pleasure to play with because for some reason he just never seems to drop a beat. So
yeah,
it's great.
Whoever you're playing with, it's brilliant. You're all of a really high sort of level. On a slightly different tack, we've noticed on some of the streaming sites that you've got an album on there.
Yes. Yeah, well, we do. We have our first live album on Spotify and Apple Music entitled Unreal to Real.
Volume 1, though.
Volume 1,
optimistically, yeah.
So, this came about from being asked after the shows numerous times across many years, people saying, are you going to be selling CDs of you playing on it? When can we get a CD or a download, or can we buy versions of your songs? And it didn't feel right recording a CD and selling that. I mean, it's not our music. We can't really monetize what's not ours by selling it. So we thought, well, how else can we do it? Because we like the concept of getting our music out there and having it available for people to share. But we thought, what would be the best way of doing that? And we thought, well, actually, if we set ourselves up on streaming sites, they take care of all the royalties. The royalties goes automatically back to Marillion, to the writers of the material. And any revenue generated by the streams goes straight to them. But we are able to get our music out there. People that like to listen to what we do can get to listen to it. So this is our first foray into that environment and getting some live music out there for people to listen to.
Brilliant. I mean, it sounds fantastic and it looks fantastic as well. The image is great. Who's put that together?
Well, that was Mr. Barnes again. They did that for us. So we contacted him and said, look, we would like to release an album. And we said, Unreal to Real. We thought, what can you do with that imagery? And he, being the phenomenal designer that he is, he thought, well, we'll do a hat tip to the cover of Reel to Real, but we'll not make it an exact copy and swap things out. So what we have is the tape reel from Reel to Real, but it's a completely different color. And instead of the band face images in the gaps, there's hat tips to the first 4 albums and imagery from some of the songs, all put across in a really, really beautiful way. In fact, it actually looks like an enamel pin badge.
It does, yeah. You're right, yeah.
And there may or may not be moves.
I was going to say, Mr. Barton's ears.
He certainly is.
I could see his face twitching already for it.
But actually, seriously, if we manage to pull this off and get that image from the live album into an enamel badge. What a cracker it'll be! It looks great. It looks great.
It looks brilliant, and you've got 6 tracks on there. Script, Cinderella Search, White Russian, Kaylee, A Gentleman's Excuse Me, and Incubus.
Yeah.
And is that you picked that to sort of give a flavour across what you're playing at the moment?
Absolutely. We're not short of live recordings. We do record quite a lot of our shows, and we've got the equipment and technology quite readily at our fingertips, just because of the way our live sound and monitoring system is set up, that we can relatively easily record a live show in multi-track, which allows us to piece it together afterwards. So we've actually got quite a lot of recordings from a lot of shows, and what not everybody knows is that we've actually got entire gigs recorded in really, really high quality that we could call upon. So we weren't short of material, and we thought, well, let's pick just 6. Let's see how that goes. And we picked those 6 because they're representative right across the boards. I mean, nobody wants to hear a StillMarillion gig without script being in there, so that had to go. We thought, okay, we'll put Kaylee in for the occasional listeners, the people that want to hear the singles, etc. And other things, we just thought, okay, what sounds particularly good? And the gigs themselves, the songs that are on the album actually come from just 2 shows. So side A, if you like, the first 3 tracks, Script, Cinderella Search and White Russian, were recorded at a show that you guys were at last year at the Y Theatre.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In Leicester. So they were recorded there. And Kaylee, Gentleman's Excuse Me, and Incubus were from Siegburg in Germany at the Cabana Club.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great response to the tracks that you gave us last time you were on. You know, folks sent us a lot of really positive messages and loved that sort of mini gig you gave us on the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah. That was cool to do. And they all came from those recordings that we've got as a kind of back catalogue. It is our first foray into it. So we've done everything off our own back. So what we wanted to make sure was that it was a really genuine product. So there's no editing of any of the material. There's no fixes that have been done. It's a genuine representation of what we sound live. It is true that we have those things in multi-track, so we can remix the levels a little bit. Just because of the way it's recorded, we can pull and push the levels a little bit. But what we didn't do was fix any of the glitches. So every now and then there's a wee glitch on one of the tracks. But we thought we don't really want to make it too polished. We want to get a real representation out there of what we actually sound like live.
Yeah.
And if this grows arms and legs and we get to do a volume 2 and a volume 3, we might start to experiment with bringing other people in to remix some of the live recordings and remaster it. But for volume 1, this is our best effort from what we've got. And
it sounds great.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah, it's a great recording. It really is.
But I think it's also a good advertising tool for the gigs predominantly as well, because, you know, people who might not have heard you before, they can check you out before they come and see you, realise, bloody hell, what have I been missing?
Well, that's kind of you say so.
Yeah, for me, that's one of the prime motivations of it. We had a discussion last week about that kind of thing, and obviously me being booker, gigs and things. The lifeblood of the band is just to play shows. That's what we exist for. We play Marillion songs live, and that's the purpose of that. Hopefully, would be to show people. I think there's a wee bit of a disconnect. Some of you see maybe on the Facebook or on how we are as a band. If you've not seen us live, it's quite difficult to sometimes capture that's gig thing about what we actually do live, that we, because we aren't just a dyed in the wool tribute band and that sort of stuff. It's hard to capture that energy, and I think the tracks do that a wee bit to say that we're not just we're not just standing up there going through emotions, carbon copying things. It's a live, energetic gig in its own right.
Definitely. Can we talk a little bit about what the set is this year? What set you're playing?
Anything.
Okay. moving
I
on
think
then.
we didn't have a theme this year, as Martin said, at a few gigs. We normally would have a theme or and the anniversary gigs are always quite popular, and because of the way it's just the 4 albums and a bit, it comes round kind of at the right time, But this year we just decided to go through and pick some of the songs that we wanted to play,
Yeah.
revisit some of the classic Fish Era songs, and so nothing's off the cards. It'll probably change a bit throughout the year, because we're not really stuck to a theme. But we've not the 3 gigs there we played. We had a particular set in mind, and we started playing it, but then. And much to sometimes Stuart's annoyance because he's got all programmed in, and especially the graphics and everything like that. Me and Martin are quite bad for saying, let's do this, let's do that, let's throw this in, and Stuart's starting pressing buttons, trying to get things called up, because we don't think in those terms, we just think, oh, this is Grendel's a classic example that everybody always shouts for Grendel, and and the way we've decided to approach Grendel is that we never now put it in a set. We just keep it there, and if it feels right in the night, we'll start playing it. We played it in Oberhausen in Germany, which was a real shock because we'd not played it. Andrew had not played it in 15 years, and we started playing it, and you look around, and he's kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's go, and Martin's sweating because he's not got the lyrics in front of him, and we started playing it, and Andrew absolutely knocked it out of the park. I was like. He's been sitting at home practicing it,
But there is always a direct correlation between if we play Grendel and how much Jack Daniels Mark Mitchell has consumed.
Okay, that's the clue.
But by that time of the night,
this continual characterization of me is absolutely untrue.
Oh, just own it, Mitchell.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Says he raising a glass to his mouth, listeners.
Absolutely. Is there any scope for you going forward now the big man's retired to do some more Fish solo tracks?
I think so. I think we need to be careful on where we go with that. People are still fiercely loyal to Fish in a lot of ways, and so obviously we've done a lot of the Vigil stuff. We've done almost all of Vigil. I think the only songs we didn't do was
View from a Hill.
We done View from Hill. Done View from Hill in Putney. Can you not remember that, Stuart?
Was there Jack Daniels in Putney as well? Was there?
The one that you always played, the Voyeur or whatever. Company, which again we've decided is far too personal to Fish and things at this time to play, or such a time which is still around, and one other one.
I would really like to venture more into some of the Fish solo stuff as the years go on. I'd be very interested to hear if other people would be interested in hearing that.
I see probably what would happen with us is more themed sets developing where, people know that they're going to come along and we're going to say that, because it's always like, oh, Fish Era Marillion, and everybody says, oh, it's Fish Era Marillion sets. And that's the absolute bread and butter of what we've done for 18 years now, I mean, we've essentially played Fish Era Marillion. As Steve said that to Martin, we played these songs more than they ever did, most of them,
longer period of time,
so but I can see in a future like themed sets to say we've already done it, we've already done like a season's Vigil show, you know what I mean, or that kind of thing, which I personally really enjoy playing. There's certainly been more early year Hogarth. I mean, like I said, at the weekends we were away there, we played Easter in the Space. I think Space, particularly one song that we just, when we started playing it, we loved playing it, and we do play it again in a certain way. And because it was Easter and it's Germany and they all love it, we played Easter as well, and obviously somebody had to twist my arm up to play that solo, but because I really don't like playing it, it seems a bit unnecessary in the song, but yeah, we done them, and so we judge it sometimes on the night, sometimes we know on the night, sometimes you can go to maybe a venue in Britain that may be a bit more old school, and you can you can smell the old denim and everything. And you think, this is a night for old Fish era classics, and they don't want to hear anything else, But other times, you can look out, you can judge a lot of time by t-shirts, which sounds strange, but see if you saw like a lot of quite a spread of modern Marillion t-shirts, you generally kind of can gauge it and say, yeah, actually, we should be all right here. But we don't apologise for playing now. We used to be quite, we'll play something, we'll play something from, whisper it, But now as I said, we've played all of season's end, quite a good majority of Holidays in Eden, and quite a few tracks off Brave now as well. And alongside that, we've played most of
Vigil.
And so there is definitely the scope for doing more, definitely, especially as with all due respect, memories fade of live gigs for Fish, and unfortunately one day so it will happen with Marillion,
Yeah.
Although we're not that young, that we're not that far behind, probably,
Actually, talking about t-shirts, we have. I've certainly noticed a large number of people arriving at our shows with Fish Final Tour t-shirts on.
Yeah, there's a lot of them around at the minute. Yeah. I was funny because I came out to work the other week and I was going through Sunderland and I was just passing by and a guy came stumbling out of a pub half cut with a final fling t-shirt on as well. It's like, bloody hell. You don't see many of them around.
Told you not to mention that.
It's great to see, though. It's great to see that the Fish t-shirts. Yeah, it is a marker of your audience sometimes, and I would say previously, a few years ago, I think historically, whether it's a link with, Steve and Martin, we have always been more aligned to Marillion rather than Fish and his kind of thing, That's not to say we're not all huge fans of, we're huge fans of both the outputs, but we have historically been aligned to that. But you do see more people now, I think, coming out because it's a social thing as well. Guys who are, were really dyed-to-the Fish fans, and they were uninterested, and they lost a bit of touch with Marillion, without getting that into all that kind of thing. But it's a social thing for them now. They're not going to get if they can gather now at a Still Marillion gig, and they have that thing, that to meet up. Whereas previously it would have been when Fish tours and things like that. But they know they're not getting that now. So
yeah. And Clyde, how's the campaign for Dear Friend coming on?
Well, not so great at the moment.
Okay, keep at it.
Yeah, we'll keep at it. However, there is something else talking about sets and bringing new songs in, etc., that we could let you know about, because towards the end of this year,
I steal my thunder, son. Right.
Were you going to?
I'm the gig booker and announcer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do your wee visual thing, right? Or your wee things at the back, or the flounce and everything. On you go. You go on with it, because you were at the gig. Because you're that old, you were at the show. So why don't you?
Thanks, Dad.
I'll just tell you just the news so you don't know that they're both now confirmed and ready to go on sale.
Yeah. Okay. So. Sorry to be stealing Mr. Mitchell's thunder here, but sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, that was a band meeting, folks, in case you didn't realise it.
It's a vision of behind the walls of Still Marillion.
So we have 2 shows at the end of the year. I think it's the 11th and 12th of December. So our last 2 shows of the year, we're playing Aberdeen on the 11th, and we're playing Stirling right in the middle of Scotland on the 12th. And we thought, wouldn't it be nice to finish the year on a slightly different theme from what we've been doing? And then it occurred to somebody, and this was just as recently as last weekend when we were in the van down, I think it was round about Stoke, and we spoke about the fact that it's 2026, and imagine a farewell to 2026. And then there was a wee bell ringing in everybody's head and went, wait a minute, that's 40 years since the farewell to 86 tour, which I was at in Glasgow Barlands on the 31st of December, and to this day remains the greatest show I've ever been to in my whole life. And we thought, why don't we recreate the farewell to 86 set list in a farewell to 26 set? Brilliant. So we're completely rebranding the last 2 shows of the year in Aberdeen and Stirling, and making it Still Marillion's farewell to 26, where we will be completely recreating the shows, or the set lists anyway, of those infamous 86 shows between Christmas and New Year from 1986.
Brilliant. They were the clutching preview shows, weren't they?
That's right. That's right. And Mr. Barnes again has helped us with the advertising for that. And we've got new posters using the original posters from 86 as a starting point for us to do our own little twist on it. So you'll get to see them hopefully within the next week or two when Mark starts the marketing juggernaut on its travels. But we're really excited about that because that's something a bit different to look forward to, and we think it'll attract a lot of people to these shows because it's just something that little bit different. And can you imagine 40 years since we were at those shows, John?
I try not to think about it, but yes, I can imagine it. Yeah, unfortunately, look at me. Look, I look like. And you've got a 2-nighter coming up in Blackpool as well, haven't you? In August.
Yep.
Yeah. 21st and 22nd.
Yeah. So we played Blackpool the last few years, and I'm going to be honest about it, I always rallied against it. The venue was there, and there'd been some interest to play, and I didn't particularly know if there was going to be a pulling power there to justify it. It's a cracking wee rock venue. It's a really well run rock venue. They attract a lot of decent bands there. So we played it, and I've got to be honest, I was bowled over. It was brilliant. It was an absolutely brilliant night. The first time we've had it, and then I think we've played 3 times since then, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. So there was a genuine feeling between the venue owner and ourselves of doing a 2-night kind of thing, because people do like to come and stay, and and it's just an event kind of thing. So that we just decided, we've done it a couple of places. We've done these 2 nights, and they work really, really well for us. We can play obviously a whole range of material. I mean, we and undoubtedly as ever we'll plan 2 sets, and we'll probably end up playing so much more. So yeah, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. Hopefully it'll be nice weather and kiss me quick cats and all that usual stuff. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
I know some of the usual suspects are travelling for that, so it should be a really
well. That's the aim. I think when you do these things, and it's on a very smaller scale. It's like when Marillion do their weekends now. They're putting into places that people want to go. I'm not saying people want to go to Blackpool, but people do seem to like going to Blackpool. So brilliant. People come and stay, and that's the reason why we do it. It's the same as Edinburgh for us. People always come and travel to an Edinburgh show because they like visiting Edinburgh. And it's Marillion do that now. They're putting on the weekends. They're putting on the weekends in cities that people think, do you know what? Yeah, I want to go there. I want to go to that place. And that's people do come to Blackpool to stay. So it's not much of an extra kind of thing just to do another night. And there's just weekend tickets on just now. Not weekend, but tickets for 2 gigs just now on sale. But there will be separate tickets going on sale soon, just because we know not everybody will be able to make either gig.
Yeah, if don't be put off by me saying the usual suspects. If you come to a StillMarillion gig and you've not been before, you're more than welcome. It's a really sort of welcoming crowd, and everyone's there for the same reason, to have a good night. So that's
the primary purpose of our gigs. We've never been po-faced about it. We're never, as I said, we're not that standing up tribute band. It's again, we actually hate the phrase tribute band. We're paying tribute to the band in terms of musically, but the primary aim of the nights is we have a good night. We enjoy it. We approach it musically, professionally, and professionally. But if we were standing up there not having a good time every night, we wouldn't be doing it. No. And the aim is to have everybody else enjoying themselves as well. And that is the primary aim of our shows.
Well, we've seen it a good few times, and you've never let us down. So
yeah, it's entertainment. No matter where you roll it up as, no matter where you're going to see whatever band, it's entertainment. That's what it should be. People need to leave entertained, and certainly Martin does his stand-up routine very well.
It's about 30 years since I've been last to Blackpool, so it's
is it?
It's not changed.
It's been a long time. It's a long time since I've been to Blackpool because
it's not all sepia and white now. They've got colour there now.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was actually, I was going to go for those little, what the butler saw machines.
Oh yeah. No, you might. Yeah. Electricity and everything. Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember putting a 2p piece down on the tram lines Did anybody ever do
Flatten
that?
it, yeah,
Descriptive, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
you didn't
I-
put a 2 pence piece. You put a halfpenny down.
Oh, shut up.
So yeah, I've used a lot of brownie points because the first night of the gig on the 21st is my 10th
Yeah.
wedding anniversary. So
Well,
I've
yeah.
got to sweeten the
Well,
missus up.
Well, hopefully that way will be worth the
There's
pain.
no truth in the rumor that you're renewing your vows on stage that night. Then
Oh dear God, no! Should be mortified. Should murder us.
I know she would. I know she would.
Yeah, all joking aside, but it's obviously says things about Blackpool. But I mean, people do it. They enjoy going, and we enjoy playing. The venue in particular, it's a very well run venue.
It's a great venue. It's a great
classic.
venue.
It's the Waterloo, isn't it?
Yeah, the Waterloo. It's a classic old, and there's only a few venues in the UK that have done this, taking on that old style English kind of bar pub thing that have managed to change into a proper live venue, but still retained the feel of the old bar and everything as well.
Yeah.
There's only a few places that have really managed to do that significantly well over the years. One of the ones that was the Railway in Bolton, I thought, which is a fantastic venue, and but still had a pub bar. So it's a proper bona fide live music venue, but it still has that just feel of a great British pub to a certain way as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not going to spit me dummy out that there's no Clooney gig in Newcastle this year.
Well, I think I'll not blame anybody else in the band for availability, but Stuart might have something to say about.
I think it's fair to say that the Clooney had modest amounts of available shows.
Yeah,
and
when I hadn't had as I say, I book all the shows. When there was only a couple of dates available, I decided to put, I think in August, our primary focus really is in the Blackpool weekend, and it may not do any harm just sometimes to give a wee miss for a year. We might book another time somewhere else. I'll speak to the venue anyway, maybe later on in the year, but the primary focus I think in August is those shows there. I said we don't do a huge amount. We're all we all work and we all so there's 3
That's
weekends.
the only time available, isn't it? Yeah, it's got to be
Exactly.
realistic.
So there's 3 weekends. But played a couple of shows before that in Scotland just to kind of get back into the swing again after the summer. PJ Malloy's in Dunfermline and the good old classic Bathgate Dreadnought, which is like 2 miles away from me. So that's a no-brainer. But we've got key weekends for us this year. We've got the June gigs coming up, Siegberg and Uden already been sold out. It's just amazing. That's going to be a huge weekend for us. Then we've got the Blackpool weekend, which is, as I said, it's going to be a focus for us the year, and hopefully not be the last time we do it. And then just these ones released now, which we're really looking forward to, is this 40 years on, Farewell to 2026 set, which we're doing in Aberdeen, and Stirling's a lovely, lovely city to visit as well. And it's a venue that we've never played before. I'm really, really looking forward to playing it at Tolbooth.
Sounds brilliant.
It's really close. It's really close to my house as well. So
Clyde's.
Everybody back to Clyde's for a lock-in.
Hey, now there you go. You see, there you go, folks. That's a promise. I think Craig's got a question he's going to ask you. It's the same one I'm probably going to.
The first thing I was going to say is just be careful in Blackpool. If John's got his Kiss Me Quick hat on, ladies form an orderly queue.
I mean, the rest of this year sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking forward to next year, and I don't want you to give any specifics if you're not in a position to, but you're usually a key part of the UK weekend in Leicester. Yes. Are there any plans for next year?
Yes. We've not said anything about that yet, but I think, as usual, I'm very pleased to say that we've managed to get dates at the Y again for the Saturday and Sunday. They're currently reserved, so what we will never do is put tickets on sale before Marillion's tickets goes on sale, because it's always out of a respect for that process and that it's the weekend. So the dates are reserved and they will go on sale after Marillion's tickets go on sale. Right. I don't really care what anybody else does in terms of that. I said we have a rule in the band is that we will not do that before the tickets go on sale for the weekend, But the dates are there, so just to keep an eye out for them going on.
Yeah, I understand Leicester Marillion tickets go on sale in November, so
yeah, I know it's a longer time, but as I said, I'll make it known. I think we'll
totally respect what you said.
Yeah, we're very, very, very careful with, and we always have been with the band, and that's where we've developed. I like to think a reasonable relationship, and that we don't tread on toes, and do things that without thinking about how it affects that. The Spotify thing was another example of that. We're very, very. I mean, there's a lot of debate internally. I hope Clyde will not mind me saying a bit, but is it the right thing to do? Does it? But it falls in the right way. The royalties go to the band. We're not to be anything else. We'll always be very careful that we don't want to do anything that's disrespectful to the band, and that's the same with ticket sales. So we'll put events out so people know, and they can kind of cook like that, but they'll go on sale after.
Brilliant. Well, look, it sounds like you've got some great plans in place. The live album sounds brilliant. The list of gigs sounds really exciting. We can't wait to see you again, because we're planning to come to Blackpool. So we will see you in Blackpool, boys, where we'll probably interview you again. So more of this, listeners, if you
and we'll put a link.
Good luck with that in Blackpool.
We'll put a link to the live album through Spotify as well. So
in the show notes for today.
If you click on the link, the live album will be there.
But all that remains to be said is thank you very much, boys, for coming on. Thank you to Stuart and Mark.
You're very welcome. As always, it's a real pleasure to talk to you, gents. Thanks a lot for having us on.
Thank you, boys.
Yeah, as always, it's a real pleasure. Stuart is always on, so I think thank you for actually having one of the lower members of the crew on.
Thanks, Mark, for taking some of his airtime from him.
I'm joking, obviously, as well. Thank you very much, guys. It's
great. Thank you to my co-host, Craig.
Well, thank you, young sir.
All that remains to be said is good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, Stuart. You know you want to do it.
Stay alive.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all